Ladies and gentlemen, I greet you with the universal greeting of Assalamu alaikum, conferring peace be upon you, that's what it means, and I trust you will confer that peace back upon me. Thank you very much. Thank you to the moderator, Mr. Ashraf Data. Thank you, Salam Media, for inviting me. I'd like to thank Mr. Dali from Baitun Noor Hall. Let me begin with saying 5 minutes, you know, they say it's not enough time for you to say what you need to say. Nonetheless, I want to begin with saying that the tick on the ballot paper has no color. Please make a note of that. And I want to commence with that, like our moderator, Mr. Garda said, he's been after a virtual meeting into a meeting where he is now engaging on a face-to-face basis. Yesterday I spent 12 hours in council. It was my first meeting since the lockdown with all the meetings that took place virtually. It was my first meeting in council that took 12 hours. And you need to ask me why such a long time of 12 hours. Let me begin with to say that it was very long and it was hot, but we had a successful day in caucus yesterday as the DA in council. It was the first council meeting that we attended non-virtually since the lockdown. But the biggest winners in that meeting yesterday were you, the residents of the city of Johannesburg. And in particular, you, the residents of Ward 9 in Lenasia. We dealt with matters such as procurement, staffing, protection of infrastructure, bullying being put under a fierce spotlight, 600 million that the city does not want to account with, giving us an audited report on what happened to that 600 million. Ladies and gentlemen, if you critically evaluate the history of governance in South Africa since 1994, I'm sure you will agree with me that when it comes to quality of service, the DA is far superior. Far more superior than any other political party throughout the country. And you just need to look at the reports of the Attorney General of the run by the DA in the Western Cape, where every municipality scores high on the card. Every municipality that's run under the DA. Just look at the statistics of the Western Cape. I'm sure you would also agree with me that we are better than most when it comes to managing people's money. Our hands are not in a cookie jar. When it comes to corruption, we have clean hands. And yes, sanitization has only come out now. So those parties whose hands are not really clean and their hands is in a cookie jar, I suggest you keep on sanitizing all along. Unlike some other parties that's also not represented here tonight. To smaller parties and independents, we want to say that despite the good intentions, you do not have the support of colleagues in the National Assembly of Provinces. Sometimes you end up as lone rangers, and you will struggle, particularly if you're going to be an independent candidate in this ward. In this game, size does matter, because size comes with resources. I'll give you another input. Yesterday, we put a motion to the council for the city to secure every infrastructure of city power as far as electricity is concerned. My time is up. Thank you very much. Oh, so I said, okay. You know, and you all know that the DA strives for freedom, fairness, diversity, and opportunity. And we say change for hope. I heard what was said earlier on. Who shops at Trade Mall? And everyone said they shop at Trade Mall. How come people don't shop at the CBD in Malaysia? The main city. And we've heard Mr. Bennie has highlighted the reasons. We've heard and we've spoken and we heard it, not coming from a person of a political party, but a member of the community, from a businessman who speaks of 8 murders, 2 kidnappings. And like him, I also lived in Lenasia. And I'm also a son of the soil of Lenasia. And when I took over from our former councillor as a caretaker councillor, it pained me and it grieved me to see what Lenasia has deteriorated into. I went on voter registration day, and you will see my flyers out there. Please take them and read them. And I look at the crime in the Lenasia CBD. I look at the police force that you have that's totally ineffective. That's basically non-existent. Thank you very much.
Okay, stay there. Thank you. So, just 2 questions maximum, right? You make an interesting point like size matters. So, I'm just thinking, the skeptic says if size matters, then you'd vote for the ANC. I'm just thinking about it. How do you explain that?
I think when we say size matters, we must also look at the of the party, you know, what is the rating if you put it on a scorecard. And size matters when it comes to major political parties. So there are 3 major players within our political arena. You have the ANC, you have the DA, you have the EFF, not discounting the other political parties. But these are the parties that run what's our political landscape. And you've got to evaluate and look at those parties in a proper perspective to see how things their record. So to an extent, size does matter when it comes to, if you're looking at the running of the government. Let's take the Western Cape with the cleanest record in the country, and the province that's basically the largest province in the country. It's not an easy province to run in comparison to other provinces. Yes, with Johannesburg maybe being the hub of our economy, to a large extent, it's still size does matter when you look at the political party.
Okay, here's the second and last question to ask you. So one thing is what the DA does nationally or provincially in Western Cape, right? The reason we're having a by-election is because a DA candidate withdrew and left the DA. That's why there's a vacancy, right? Everybody, and I know it's not you, okay? So everybody has said that there are so many problems in Lenasia. I don't live here, I don't know how much of it is true. We'll find out. But in fact, the problems of this ward, I'm not saying who caused it, but the leader of the ward was a DA leader. Now, if someone tells you, why should I trust another DA leader, what are you going to tell them?
Thank you. Thank you for that question. The councillor resigned, which I cannot vouch for the reason of his resignation. And I cannot, also it stupefies me as to why he's coming back to stand for independent. Yes, he was 4 years a councillor in this ward, and he's made a statement on social media as well that this ward has deteriorated within the 2-month period since his resignation. Now, I don't buy that. You had 4 months to do whatever needed to be done in this ward to rectify the ills of this ward. And you had a political party that was busy backing you in what you needed to carry out. I think what's transpired there also, and if you look at it within the 2.5-month period, my flyers are there. You look at the endorsements that I've received in a 2.5-month period from individuals, from organizations, from NGOs, from businessmen, from business entities, and in the 2.5-month period that what I have achieved within this ward as a caretaker councillor, I think I will achieve far more if I'm elected as a ward councillor. I also want to give an indication. You find a great empathy in Ward 9 when it comes to your officials from the respective entities from the city. There is a huge empathy from them. They don't want to carry the mandated role that's given to them, right from the top down. If you look at from the regional director of Region D, who is always very, very unresponsive in assisting you as a councillor so that you can assist the residents. That has to change, and that can only change from within. You take the various other officials, you take another urban inspector.